It's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What you shoot? Where we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in. It's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot.
Hooty-hoo!
Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
I'm unlimited. Mr. Unlimited.
You say?
A whole lot of character. I just want to say, you doubted us, but now we're here. Right back at you. Right back at you.
Wow, what a great bare-chested man mind. Wow, what a great knowing what the marketing slogan should be before anyone even knows what the marketing slogan should be mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about...
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do!
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
This is going to be a different start to the program. Amanda, one of our sales associates, who I've been working very closely with on a new client that I'll welcome to the KFAN family of advertisers here a little bit later. But she made a DiGiorno pizza. It's not frozen, it's DiGiorno. Isn't that what they say? And she offered me a piece of DiGiorno. So not only am I going to eat lunch at 1 o'clock, but during this first segment, I'm probably going to nibble on my pizza. So, and I know the listeners look forward to that. There's plenty of things to talk about today. Big list. No, we're not spinning Wheel of Topic, not quite yet, but it won't be long now, me boy. You see that forecast for next week?
I've seen it.
40s. Maybe the Mercury might even play tag with 50. I get it. I'm just talking to another sales associate, Jeff Lamont. He's a golfer, a very talented golfer, and his boy, Nick, is a great player. Played college golf, the whole thing. And he's comfortable hitting it farther and straighter, by the way, too. He said, we could be playing in 3 weeks. And I said, yes, barring a major snowstorm, because you know how March is here. It roars in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. But yeah, we could be playing soon, and that means we'll fire up Wheel of Topic, which is a favorite of most of the Common Man program listeners. But I got to start with a rip right away. It's a little dangerous to rip the mouth that feeds you, but I'm going to do it anyways because I was named after a book in the Bible or a character in the Bible named Daniel, standing by a purpose firm, heeding God's command, honor them, the faithful few, all hail to Daniel's band. Dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose firm, and dare to make it known. I will not be silenced. I'm exercising my, is it First Amendment?
Yes.
my First Amendment rights to say what I want, to tell the truth, the whole truth, or at least some semblance of the truth, so help me God. But I talk about the coroner's office oftentimes. We have 3 coroners in the coroner's offices. Though Abbott's isn't really a coroner office. It's just the coroner's. The coroner's office are usually in the coroner office, but they're not. But my good friend Derek Lonnquist, he was a salesperson here many, many years ago. He has made his triumphant return. He is now regional president. And if you'll remember, Tennessee, we congratulated him when he came on board. It didn't come out exactly how I wanted to when I congratulated him, because I said something like, I'm really happy he's here, but I was surprised we couldn't find anybody better. So that probably didn't come out the way it was meant to, because I'm thrilled
I think they call that a backhanded compliment?
Well, I guess so, but what do you think? Were you kind of surprised? I mean, didn't you think they could find somebody better?
I thought Derek Lonnquist was the best person available for the job. They could not have found anyone better. And we are so lucky to have him.
Then you have Chad Abbott, program director. As a matter of fact, being region president and then program director, those are kind of just blasé titles. Greg Swedberg is the senior vice president of programming. That's a hell of a title, senior. Do we even have a junior vice president of programming? I don't think we do, because I've not seen it on any door. There are offices, and they all have their name and title. I've never seen junior vice president of programming. I've never even seen president of programming. But Swedberg's the guy. He's been working here longer than I have. He and I have a really good relationship. Chris Carr of the K102 Morning Show, mornings, country, funny. Isn't that their slogan?
Something like that.
Or do they say, no, I'm sorry. Well, that is their slogan. The slogan of the station is yesterday's country after yesterday, before tomorrow, something like that, right? But Greg he oversees all the programming, and I visit with him every day in his office. I'm one of the few on-air people that does. Speaking of Chris Carr and I both visit Greg. We look for guidance, for leadership. He's very sage. He's sort of like, he's like Obi-Wan Kenobi is what he is. Do I have the right name? Was Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, and he was kind of like the guy?
He is from Star Wars, but I'm not going to act like I'm I haven't really watched Star Wars.
But he's seen it all, done it all, and he's basically in charge of all of programming. I'd like to offer congratulations to start. Greg is in Nashville, and he just was selected to be in the Country Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh.
For those of you in the PAVIC, we're happy for you. This is the Country Radio Hall of Fame. I mean, this is just legendary names.
Not local.
No, this ain't local. This is national. The Country Radio Hall of Fame. It's littered with the best of the best. And Greg Swedberg is now is about to be enshrined in the hall. That'll come sometime later. They just had the nominees and made the announcements, and he's there for some kind of a seminar that included the announcements. But again, now comes the hard part, the criticism. I guess he looks at it as a free pass to have the rest of the week off. Where is he? That was yesterday. Got nominated, got selected, should have been back on a plane, back here in town, back in his own coroner's office, right? I go there for leadership, looking for leadership like I always do. He's nowhere to be found. He's already forgotten what it took to get to that Hall of Fame, and that's being here how many people are here every single day? Even on holidays. He's always
used to be
here.
him, yeah.
He's always here. Now it's all of a sudden, well, you know what? I'm in the hall. Guess I can rest on my laurels. I'm disappointed. He was a guy I looked up to.
Yeah.
Who I patterned myself after. Always working hard. Always volunteering for more. Okay, I tried to pattern myself after him, but it hasn't really worked out that way. I have to admit, radio attracts two different kinds of people. Lazy, stupid, or
both.
And I think I filled the both part. I don't think you're lazy. I just think you're stupid.
Thanks.
Well, at least you're not both like I am.
Backhanded compliment we were talking about earlier.
Which would you rather be, lazy or stupid?
I think I'd rather be lazy.
Well, then kick your feet up and then get a book and read. See, now you're lazy.
Well, now I'm both.
But that's what I'm saying. Get a book and start reading a book right now. Or why don't you go watch hockey again? Spend all day watching hockey. How about that? Preposterous statement nominees all over the place. It's funny. Once the PST tournament starts, at 1:30 we will have pairings, results and pairings. A second round action, right? Because didn't we finish the first round?
Today we'll get the end results of the first round. So we'll be starting the second round.
Correct. And we have all sorts of great nominees. So many people that are worthy. We even have websites that are worthy. Eventbrite. So we have so many people that are worthy. But it's funny. It's almost like people's radar goes up then, right? When we start doing the PST, because they know that we are looking for preposterous statements year round. That anything uttered in 2025 will go into next year's February preposterous statement tournament, which will be triple V, triple I, right? Already had a couple nominated, including Ben Lieber has been nominated for a preposterous statement. Lavelle Neal III has been nominated for a preposterous statement. He filled in yesterday.
But he had a good, 3.5 hours yesterday?
Yeah. Well, so, when you got 3.5.
Lots of opportunity.
Yeah. And he was an emergency fill-in because Big Ticket was sick. And so they had to make a last-minute call and Lavelle comes in. And apparently Lavelle yesterday basically said tonight's game against the United States and Canada. Now, here's where I think you're probably going to agree. That's the problem. You might get it into the PSG too. He called it allegedly said on the air. It's the quote game of the century. An exhibition game. It's an exhibition game. It was just concocted. It's not like a real league. There's no trophy. There's like, hey, you know what? Instead of an all-star game, they put it together because of the abject failure of their own all-star game. It's so bad and so underwatched by people that they said, well, guess what we got to do? We got to do something different to try to attract people's attention. Now, I will say it's obviously they're into it. We had 3 fights break out in the first 9 seconds of the first Canada-United States game. But I think it's a little far-fetched to call it the game of the century, I think. But maybe you agree.
It's the biggest game I've seen in a while. I don't know if I can say century. It's not like an Olympic gold medal on the line, but...
What about the 2017 NFC Championship game? And we weren't that far out of that game. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. Sounds like you agree with them.
Game of the century might be a little over, but I do think it's a really big game today.
It's a really big shoe, and it's a really big game. Wait to hear Lieber's. You're going to agree with Lieber, too. We have that to get you. Plus, you weren't here.
You're going to compare Pat Mahomes to Brock Purdy again?
No, but you weren't here. Maybe you caught wind of it. You weren't here because I think I was trending on Twitter. You weren't here when I had my Vikings quarterback idea, were you?
No.
Wait till you get it. If you thought the Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and who's the guy that signed with Green Bay?
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs was crazy. Wait to get a load of the one I have
can't
for
wait
you.
for it.
So we got all of that and so much more. Right now, though, I think, Tennessee, are we doing the grand in your hand?
Yes, we are. The Fan wants to give you a shot to put a grand in your hand with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. The keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com. Country sensation Hardy is bringing the Jim Bob World Tour to Somerset Amphitheater. Catch him when he takes the stage August 16th with special guests Co Wetzel, Stephen Wilson Jr., and Sicarus. Enter for your shot to win a pair of tickets on our contest page. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter.
Couple 13-14 pass common man program. Time for Peek at the Purple. Purple. Taking a peek. Taking a quick look. Just a glance. Looking behind the curtain. The Purple. Brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. For all your electrical needs, they do it all. They're your old home specialist, too. So you have an older home and you need some rewiring work done, whatever the case may be. Nick will be coming over to my place soon. And I would tell you this, Tennessee, my fluorescent light in my laundry room, it's shot. It's completely shot. And Nick's already priced one out for him, and it's like, it's not any more expensive than just buying a couple of candles. It really isn't. It's a great price.
It's shockingly affordable.
Well, you know what? It's shockingly affordable is really what it is. At 10 I was going to do, I was going to get Lieber going. But before I do that, as long as I speak at the purple, I'm going to bounce off my my Viking quarterback theory on you. Alec Lewis writes for, are you familiar with a website called The Athletic?
The what?
The Athletic.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Athletic,
what is that?
It's a website. It's dedicated to sports your whole life, just sports. It's long form stuff, deeper looks at things instead of just name, rank, serial number, maybe a gamer. They'll dig deep into every game, and I mean, because they got all the time in the world and all the space in the world, right? There really aren't any deadlines for them. I mean, they'll do something after the game, but they might wait a little while and then take a deeper look. And Alec Lewis writes for the Athletic. He's based here locally, and he covers the Vikings. And he did a piece back on, what's the date today? Is it the 20th?
20th.
So he did a piece on Tuesday that said, regardless of what day he did it, it says, Sam Darnold's future with the Vikings, what's most likely and why. And then he did it in the order of the least likely. And the least likely he thinks would be a multi-year extension for Sam Darnold. And I think we all sort of kind of agree with that. Next would be the franchise tag. And then he talks about the pros and cons of that and what could happen. Then is the transition tag, which is different from the franchise tag. And then test free agency. This is what, for Sam Darnold, will he test free agency? Those are basically the options at quarterback for the Vikings. I said, well, you're missing one that I think stands out above the rest. I'll set it up this way, Tenneby. What's Kevin O'Connell's nickname?
KOC?
No. Well, that's it. Yeah, KOC. But the other one, he's
the quarterback whisperer.
Quarterback whisperer, or as we like to say, quarterback dubs. It's been taken as gospel by almost everybody that Kevin O'Connell can take any quarterback. Doesn't matter where he's been, where he's going, where he's at. And he can elevate him to a status he's never been before. He gets all the credit for making Josh Dobbs brilliant for a handful of games. Everybody says that Kirk Cousins had his best season ever under the tutelage of KOC. Jared Goff went to his only big game with Kevin O'Connell as his offensive coordinator in Los Angeles. And then you saw what he did with Sam Darnold, right? And some intrepid report, Sam Darnold's in the running for MVP. They were just said, he's in the mix. He's probably not going to win, but he's played that well. I mean, he was brilliant. The numbers are astonishing until those two last games. He's so good at what he does that Daniel Jones begged to come to Minnesota because he said, I saw what he did with Sam Darnold. He can do the same with me. So you've got the quarterback whisperer here. Now you look at draft picks. How many draft picks do the Vikings have? Well,
I think 4, but maybe 5 once the...
Yeah. They have a first, 2 fifths, and they're going to get the...
compensation.
They're going to get the... what is that one called? Compensatory pick.
Yeah.
So we only have 4 picks in the draft right now. 4.
Yeah.
4 draft picks. We need more because why? Well, yeah, we have a lot of cap money, but boy, you'd sure like to have draft picks in order to... That's the best way to build a team. That when you're doing it like last year, like when the Vikings went out and signed a lot of one-year contracts to the defensive players, it worked well, but then you got to renegotiate with those guys again. It can get messy and sticky, and they're not guaranteed to be here. So we'd like to get some more draft picks. Quarterback class this year, Tenneby, I'm told, is real thin. Would you agree with that?
Very thin, yes.
And has it been stated in a number of different places that if J.J. McCarthy were available in the draft this year, he might be the number 1 overall, not just the first quarterback taken. He might be the number 1 pick overall. Is that accurate? That's been...
Sure.
Then why isn't it an option for the Vikings to trade J.J. McCarthy? I would think you could get if everybody thinks he could go first overall, my guess is you could get at least 1 number 1 for him.
Well, yeah.
Maybe 2, or maybe a 1 and a 2, or a 1, 2, and a 3, right?
Typically, that number 1 pick can trade 3 first-round picks for it.
Okay. So let's say you get a couple of 1s and a 2. So you add that, and now we have 2 1s, a 2, we have 3 1s because we have ours.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 1s, a 2.
I'm guessing one of those ones would be for next year, but go on. Yep.
Compensatory, and a couple of 5s. And then the quarterback whisperer goes out, and I listed all the free agent quarterbacks. I'll go with Justin Fields. If he's a quarterback whisperer and he can do what he did with Sam Darnold, why couldn't he do that with Justin Fields? Now, I know there are no guarantees, but you go with your 4 draft picks and McCarthy, who looks like he's a nice player, and he probably will end up being real good. But if you can add that many draft picks and the quarterback whisperer, he's like Midas, whatever he touches turns to gold. Fields was highly regarded coming out of college, right? And he can run. This guy's fast. And that's the kind of quarterback you want nowadays. Guys that can run and throw. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. These are the kind of quarterbacks that thrive and flourish in the NFL. I think the only problem with Justin Fields, he doesn't have his eyes and his feet connected. That's been the problem with all these guys. That's what KOC can do. Do you think that's just as preposterous as the 4-5 running back signing? And I got just destroyed by people. Rosen said, I disagree with everything I said. Of course, Rosen does, because Rosen would never think out of the box or challenge any ownership or coaches or general managers in town with a different idea of what they want to do, right? He just said he's not going to do it. And I did get support from a number of people that said that's a great idea. Is it foolproof? No, but neither is keeping McCarthy and having 4 draft picks. And we don't know what we got with McCarthy either. We don't know. Now, quarterback whisperer might turn him into the next Montana. I don't know. But I just don't think it's something that should be dismissed summarily. If it was announced they were doing that, I'd be all for it. I want to get your thoughts on that on the other side of the break. We'll get Lieber going. And I got plenty to get to here on the Common Man. Oh, don't forget, PST, pairings, results and pairings at 1:30. Mark Rosen at 2 here on The Fan.
Legends of British rock, Def Leppard.
Cats that can't hear
Are set to take over the grandstand at the Minnesota State Fair. Don't miss out on their countless hits when they take the stage on August 26th. Check out their contest page for your chance to win a pair of tickets and admission to the fair. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
Do you really believe it's countless hits?
I'm trying to think. I don't know how many hits they...
Because that means...
Can you think of one?
That means there would be so many you can't count them. That would mean it would be to infinity. My guess is they have an exact number of songs they've recorded. Let's say it's 256. So we know they've done two. So you can count to 256, and then how many of those were hits? Let's say 15. Well, then they've had 15 hits. It's not countless. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
When I think of bands with countless hits, Beatles. After that, what do you got?
Tay-Tay, I suppose.
Yeah, Tay-Tay. Yeah. So Def Leppard has done Hysteria, Photograph. Oh, Pour Some Sugar on Me. I know that one.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of songs in the system.
Well, they do.
Yeah. They do have countless hits.
But you can count them. Does it just go on and on and on and on, or does it finally come to an end? I know it's what do we call? Is it semantics? Is that the word I'm looking for? No, I'm being literal, and I probably shouldn't, because they're trying to just say they're so good. They've got so many songs you can't keep track of them all. Lastly, I've received a couple more text messages on this. One of them says, what a dumb idea by you. Kwesi has had some atrocious drafts since his inception. Since his hiring is what I would have used. I don't think a human being is incepted. I think they're created. Anyway. He's had some atrocious drafts, and you want to trust him to get it right versus growing the franchise with J-Mac? Stick to golf and overrated 70s TV shows. And I had to tell him, I'm kind of in the loop what happens over at Winter Park a little bit. I have sources. And let's just say, let me ask you a question, Teneby.
Yeah.
The Wolves are very aware of Kwesi's draft record, right? And they're very aware of it. They're also very aware of the success of the quarterback whisperer. Matter of fact, he won Coach of the Year, and they couldn't wait to sign him to an extension. Couldn't wait. I mean, they signed him almost immediately when the season ended, like a 5-year, it's rumored to be 5-year, $15 million a year, one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL. Okay? There was talk about people wanting to trade for him. That's how highly regarded he is.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody wanting to trade for Kwesi yet. I haven't heard of him signing an extension yet. In other words, and another thing I've heard from my source, and it's a source I trust. Part of KOC's agreement included having a little bit more say over personnel and how the draft is conducted, et cetera, et cetera. He has more power now than he had before. So the people that wanted, that was a comeback by a lot of people. Kwesi drafts. So even if you have a great idea to accumulate draft picks, and there's no guarantee with McCarthy. As a matter of fact, we'll let this play out because it's not going to happen. I get that because I don't think even KOC and the Wilfs and Kwesi are bold enough to try something like this. They just wouldn't do that because that's one of those things where there are certain decisions that a coach or a general manager makes that if it doesn't work out, they're going to get fired. Like, for instance, if McCarthy isn't a franchise quarterback, let's say McCarthy turns out to be Christian Ponder 2.0. Now, I think he's going to be better, but just say, for argument's sake, he is. Well, now you've wasted last year. Of course, you had Darnold, but you let Darnold walk. You didn't get anything from McCarthy. You could have traded him probably. I'm sure somebody would try. And now you got to start to find another franchise quarterback or supposed franchise quarterback. I mean, again, nothing is guaranteed, and I just don't know why people are so dismissive of like J.J. McCarthy, like they think he's the next Tom Brady or next Pat Mahomes. He might be the next Mac Jones. We don't know. And draft picks are how you build a club. How did Philadelphia build a world championship team? Draft picks. Mm-hmm. It wasn't free. I'm sure they signed a couple of free agents, but they used the draft to draft offensive and defensive linemen, draft after draft after draft. Detroit, they're kind of one of the teams people point to. Now, what have they done? They drafted all their offensive. They didn't trade. They may have gotten one on free agency, maybe Zeitler, I don't remember. But they drafted all of those offensive linemen. And they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they drafted Sam Laporta. And they drafted, who's the Williams kid? What's his first name? Jameson Williams. So you got to have draft picks. Free agency's fine, but it's pretty expensive too. You're going to get, you can get some really good players. We got a lot of money. And just suggest it's just completely ridiculous. I think that's short-sighted.
Can you read that text again? Do you still have it?
What a dumb idea. Kwesi's had some atrocious drafts since his inception, and you want to trust him to get it right versus growing the franchise with J-Mac? Stick to golf and overrated 70s TV shows.
I have a couple thoughts on this.
Okay.
One, he's arguing against himself here because he's saying Kwesi has had atrocious draft picks. We need to ride with J.J. McCarthy. Well, J.J. McCarthy was Kwesi's draft pick. So
Brilliant.
We're supposed to blindly trust J.J. McCarthy now, even though you said not to trust Kwesi's draft picks. The other part of this is if you're going to go with hey, we don't want to acquire more draft picks because Kwesi's been bad at it, you should just be clamoring for him to be fired then.
Yeah.
Because you cannot survive as an NFL franchise without hitting on your draft picks. I know he hasn't up until this point.
Right.
I still think you can't shut the door on that. Like he hasn't had enough time to do it. But if he goes another year or two where he can't, you can't survive in the NFL without hitting on draft picks. You can't.
No. That's how all these...
It's a salary cap world. You have to spend lots of money on free agents.
The way most teams are built is the foundation and the key pieces, the players that are going to be that are going to provide the foundation for the franchise are selected in the draft. And then when you feel like the time is right, when it's the age of Aquarius, the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, that's when you strike and fill in some spots, some pieces with free agency. That's where you say, guess what? We're going to go get Myles Garrett. I know that would be a trade, but that's where we go get a Myles Garrett kind of a guy, or we go out and get. Now the Lions again, they probably wouldn't have done this had Hutchinson been hurt, but they went out and got Zadarius Smith. And he ended up being their, not saying a whole heck of a lot, but he ended up being their best defensive line. So you fill empty spots and vacancies with free agency and build the foundation with your draft picks. So, and again, this is what's interesting is I'm assuming many of these people that think this is just a cockamamie idea are also the ones that believe in the quarterback whisperer thing. Well, if you believe that, then why would you not go? You don't think? I mean, and there's not just Justin Fields. I looked at all the names of free agent quarterbacks that are available out there. There's a lot of guys with 3-4 years experience that are making very little money right now that you could. If you can do it with Sam Darnold, why couldn't you do it with a Justin Fields? And somebody else said, well, he's really not a pocket passer. And that's what KOC does best. I think KOC could adapt, right? And I think you can work with Fields when he gets his eye. He can be a pocket.
Fields can be a pocket passer.
Right, exactly.
He has the arm strength.
Yes.
Like the physical talent is there with Justin Fields.
So just because people just want to put these people in boxes and put them in this is what Justin Fields is. Not when he's with quarterback whisperer. He's not.
Yeah.
He can be a whole different player.
You would have said Sam Darnold sees ghosts and he can't perform in the National Football League before the KOC whisperer quarterback whisperer.
That's exactly right. So kind of a coincidence that I ran into Ben today. He was just leaving. He had been on with the Power Trip morning show. And did he go on with Noro too or something? Because, he was here late.
I was going to say, how early were you here?
I rolled up a little earlier today. I had some production work to do for a potential new client. And so I had to write some commercials and record them. So I got here a little earlier than I normally do. I got here about 5 to 12. And I got here about 10:30, and Ben Lieber was just leaving. Somebody had sent me an email today nominating him for a preposterous statement. And I responded to the email with, he didn't say that. You're making that up. You have to be, and then have is capitalized. And here's what Ben said. That's sports betting is skill. That there's a skill to sports betting. Now, I'm not sure. I know you like sports. And did I see that there was a tie vote out of here in Minnesota at the state legislature? It was like 6-6 again. So it looks like sports betting again is going to have. I don't think we're going to get sports book betting legalized here in Minnesota.
It'll be the last state.
Correct? Is that what you saw too? Did you see that story? I thought I saw a story that said it took a major setback because the vote was like 6-6 just to get it out of some committee, I think. So I think already we're in trouble there. But the idea that sports betting, and, we had I like Lieber because you really can't get him going. I mean, you can try, Rosen's easy to get going. There are certain people that it's just easy to get going. Matter of fact, it's not even a challenge anymore, right? But Lieber, you can't really get him going. He'll just, he stays calm and cool, debates his points, and I debated mine, and I tried to get him from every angle. I tried to see if I could get him all riled up, but he he dug his heels in and said there's skill to it, and I did. I guess I gave a little bit of ground. I said I don't even know if I call it skill. I just think it takes an understanding and a little bit of research. Because he asked me about, do you think slot machines are skill? I go, of course not. He goes, do you think blackjack is? I go, no, it's all luck. He goes, well, no, it's not. And what I did give him was, I still think it's mostly luck. I mean, once you understand the idea of how the game of blackjack works, that like everybody is. I mean, I was trying to explain it to Deuce. Deuce made his ring announcing debut up at Grand Casino Hinckley, right? Deuce is 22 years of age, so he can legally gamble at a casino before. He never has. He's never done it. Mm-hmm. So I said, when we're up there, maybe after the fights, we can go over to the gaming tables and I can teach you a little blackjack, right? He said, that'd be great. Well, by the time we ate dinner and stuff like that, we decided not to. We're going to try it again another day when he comes back in the town. I said, maybe we can go over to Mystic or down at TI. TI! Maybe when the Power Trip takes over, to do another takeover. Or we go to, St. Croix, or we can go to, Mystic Lake, like I said, or back up to Hinckley, or maybe over to Grand Casino Mille Lacs. Once you understand how a blackjack goes, well, what are they, 5 or 6 card shoes or 6 deck shoes We know that if the dealer shows a 10, you're pretty much hitting all the way to the very end, right? Because you got to play under the assumption that the dealer's got a 20 or better, right? Or a 19. You just have to play that way. Even though they might not, and many times they don't. Sometimes they have a 2 underneath and they have a 12. And they're going to
play the percentages.
But you have to play the percentages of it. And then you have to know that if you've got a 9 and a 2, you can double down, right? You can say one card, doubling my bet. I'll take one card and ride with that and see if I can beat the dealer. Now, if you got a 9 and a 2, and again, the dealer has a 10 up, you have to think about it. You still might do it. Would you automatically do that anyways, thinking you're going to get a 10 and get 21?
What was this scenario again?
You've got a 9 and a 2 for an 11. The dealer's got a face card showing. Would you automatically double down?
Yes.
Yes. So, but you
got a slight edge there.
Right. You got a slight edge, but some people still might not do that.
Sure.
Right. Or, if you have an 8 and an 8, do you split the 8s? A little risky. You're certainly not going to split 5s.
Well, you want to split 8s because you don't want to be at 16.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're certainly not going to split 5s. You're going to keep your 10, maybe double down on the 10 because even if you split your 5s, you might get a 10 and a 10, and now you got 15 on both, and then you're in big trouble. So once you learn those, well, then it's still just luck because you can go ahead and you can play it completely smart. You might go, the dealer has a 6 showing. You got an 8 and a 3 underneath, right? So you double down, and let's say you get a 9, right?
Yeah.
So now you got what?
20.
20. You got 20. You're sitting on 20. You're thinking, I can't lose. Dealer throws it over, and they got 16. They have to hit, throws up a 5. It's all luck. You played it exactly right, right? You played it to the letter of the blackjack law, but you got beat by the luck of the draw on the card. It's just luck. Same with I know poker. You believe there's a lot of skill to it. And there's some, but not as much as people think, because I've used the example many times. I told this to Lieber. I said, I used to play in the Paul Allen celebrity poker tournaments. I played in like 5 or 6 of them. I got to the final table 2 different times. I don't even play cards that much anymore. I played a lot when I was a kid, but that was back when I was playing in the late 70s to maybe 1980 before I went to Brown and left town. Then I was gone. And when we came back, we never got together and play cards. So I hadn't been playing cards for 20 years. I get to the final table 2 different times. And I got a bounty, so everybody's trying to beat me. They're paying attention because if they're the one that knocks me out, they got like, what, $100 or $200, whatever it was, they would get in cash for knocking me out. Just see. I got an ace and a 10. I think I'll stay. And then the flop comes and there's an ace. Well, I got a pair of aces. More than likely, I'm going to win. Be hard to beat me. Somebody else could get 2 pair. Somebody else might have an ace. I get that. Somebody might be sitting on pocket kings and a king comes up and they're going to get through. I understand all that. But then what I have to do with my cards, I have to decide, now, what do I want to do? Do I want to bluff? Do I just stand pat? When somebody comes in and goes, pass. And then the next person raises, and I go, oh. So now they think I got nothing because I'm not betting, right? They don't think I've got anything. More than likely. Some people might not buy into that. I'll stay in, and they're thinking, well, I got that sucker's money. Well, they don't know I'm sitting on pocket aces.
Well, sounds like there's a lot of skill involved with the way you're discussing this right now.
No, that's not skill. That's just knowing the odds. That's once you learn the game. To me, that's not skill. That's just knowing. It's just like, well, if I've got a 2 and a 3 and a guy bets, I'm out. I'm just sorry, I'm not going to bet because I just know the chances. Now, could there be 3 3s on the flop? I suppose, but the chances aren't very good. There's a modicum of skill, but what happens is people want there to be skills because then it makes them feel superior. I'm like, what's the guy's name? Moneymaker? No, who's
Chris Moneymaker?
Yeah. I'm as good as Chris Moneymaker. You see the guys I see about, because I'll click on, ESPN will do that World Series of Poker stuff, and guys are wearing sunglasses. Ooh, you're not going to read my eyes. Give me a break. Read your eyes. I don't need to read your eyes. I'm not looking at your eyes. Matter of fact, you know what I like to do? I don't wear sunglasses, and then I look at my cards, and I do this. I go, watch this, Timmy. I go like this. I go. My eyes get as big as frying pans, and I stare, and then I look around like I hope nobody saw me do that, and I put the cards on, and then I start going like rubbing my hands together, stuff like that. I go, what the hell is he doing? Does he really have a really good hand, or is he pretending he has a really good hand? It's just all luck. It's just stupidity. No skills to it.
There's some skill.
Some.
Yeah.
There's some.
Can I use Exhibit A?
Sure, go ahead.
when Mark Rosen and I make bets on this very radio show, who typically wins them?
You.
Yeah, because I have more skill sports betting than Mark Rosen.
Is that skill, or is it just paying closer attention? Because that's what Lieber said the same thing too. He tried to use that as an example, and to me, it's just.
I guess it depends on how you define skill.
Yeah, and sports book betting, you can go ahead and you can study the two teams. Let's say it's Saints versus Buccaneers. Look at their records, starting quarterbacks, where the game's being played. This team against the rush, this team against the pass, how well this team does and all that. And you look at all your different things, right? You see it all. And you figure Tampa Bay is going to win this game. They're the favorite, and they should be, and that's what I figured the bet. So I'm going to bet on Tampa Bay and take that 6.5 points. So Tampa Bay's got a 7-point lead. There's 2.5 minutes to go. Mayfield turns around, hands off. There's a flubbed handoff. Saints cover it, march down the field, score. When you go, I had everything figured out. I knew Tampa Bay was the better team. I knew they were going to win the game. And then the dopey quarterback and the dopey running back can't perform the exchange on a handoff properly, and I just lost all my money. It's just luck. You have to hope that they do that handoff correctly.
I'll give you the same comment I've given you on poker in years past.
All right.
On any individual poker tournament.
Yes.
Just on one tournament. If we're just playing a poker tournament tonight.
Correct.
There's a ton of luck involved.
Yes.
If you are playing in poker tournaments once a week over the next 20 years, the higher skilled poker players will win more money than the lower skilled poker players. But on that one tournament, the lower skilled poker player can beat the higher skilled poker player based on how much luck is involved. I would say there's probably also a sports betting as well, right? Like on any given sporting event, because some guy can't handle a snap and fumbles the ball,
correct,
that you can lose. There's luck involved in that one specific event, but over a course of many years, over a course of many, many, many bets, the higher skilled players, and it might just be slight. It might be just a slight, percentage or two advantage. But the higher skilled sports bettors, poker players, blackjack players will win more in the long run.
Or are they just luckier? I think they're just luckier. That's all. They got lady luck. Some people have luck. Look at Mark Rosen.
He's got a lot of luck.
Lucky in life, lucky in love. Everything he's done in his life has just been, it's like, he is.
So you're saying he has no skill?
He has a modern.
It's just been luck.
He is a modern day Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold. So good for him. Maybe he is skillful at it all. But I just think it's, I guess I'll give you a little. There's probably a little, but mostly it's just understanding the games and then just hoping it goes your way. Because how do you explain where there are times when I would play cards with people and at the end of the night I had all the money, most of it. And then that would happen the next game. And then all of a sudden the next weekend, I'm signing over my $125 check that I got for being a janitor at WCCO. That was my entire weekly pay. That was probably 2 weeks because I was just doing 3 days a week. I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for like 3 hours, right? Each night. Buffing the floors, emptying ashtrays and trash cans, and then moving on with my life. I had to take that check the day before Thanksgiving, wrote it out to Mr. Nubbs, said, here you go. Thanks, guys. It's been fun. I got my car and went home. I lost all. Now, the week before, I was the big winner. I didn't approach the game any differently.
Maybe you just had mediocre skill.
No, what happened?
Lose one, win one, lose one, win one.
What happened? No, what I'm saying is that for the one tournament, I won the most money for over. We were, you know how poker games go. You play for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. So over 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, I was dominating. I won most of the money. Then the next weekend, I lose most of the money. Well, what's that all about? That's why they call it lady luck, me boy. Lady luck. So, anyways, I got Lieber going. And that was kind of fun. But I didn't really get him going. I tried to get him going. And the best part was Lee Valsvik, who is with Cool 108. She was also my classmate at Brown Institute. Lieber bounced it off her about gambling. He goes, you think it's skill or luck? She goes, luck.
I think there's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
With some skill.
Yeah. Paul McCartney. Now, see, if we could play
with a little
luck. You could help it out We could make this whole dang thing work. But we can't do it. So. Someone tells me Midas had a bad ending. Did he die? Or did he turn to gold? I thought Midas was a muffler place. Yeah, muffler. Fix it. We'll take a break. And when we come back, Tenby's got 5-3-4. That's what you got, Tenby.
Yeah, a former Vikings great has chimed in with his Sam Darnold opinion.